Hey everybody, day 21. I'm very sorry that it's so late today getting the video up. Today was just manic. It was one of those days where I had to call on every ounce of strength that I had and root through every tool in the self-care toolbox. Yeah, it was a tough one. So on Tuesday usually is my busiest day anyways. But today was a bit crazy. So anyways, we're here now. Sorry that it's late. Today I wanted to get back to the very first video that I ever posted, which was saying no. And I did purposely leave a gap between that video and this one because I wanted to, I was hoping that some of you might have tried the saying no, even saying no without saying no. And that when I discussed a little bit about what was now today, I'm going to talk about what happens after you've started to say no. I was hoping that some of you might have already got to that and went and realised this for yourselves now anyways. So back then I was saying, you're going to prioritise yourself first and you're going to start saying no to just jumping in and helping out with things that people could actually be dealing with themselves. So there's a benefit to that, which is obvious, which is that your time is your own, that you're not wasting your energy and your time on fulfilling somebody else's needs when really your own needs need to be looked after as well. The downside to saying no is that it starts to shift relationships. So things can start to change between you and the person who you're saying no to. Because people don't like when you stop helping them out. People liked who you were, especially if you were the type of person who was a real people pleaser and who was running around helping them with everything. Like, yeah, no worries, I have 4 kids. I'll just throw them in the back of my car to bring you down to the post office. Yeah, no worries. You know what I mean? People don't like it when you start to change that because they don't know why you're saying no and they try to figure it out for themselves. You know why you've started to say no because really what you want to say is, listen, piss off. Like, actually, you could be doing that yourself. Stop fucking asking me. But none of us are that cruel. So we say no in the nice ways. And we push them to have to do things themselves or to find somebody else to help them. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video today was, one, I wanted to make you aware, yes, sometimes the relationships do change. And sometimes when you start saying no, you realise that people only really wanted to be around you because they loved what you were doing for them rather than them loving you. And that's a harsh thing to say, but sometimes that's true. Sometimes you'll start saying no and people will be totally understanding and say, yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's great to see you looking after yourself. They're your friends. You know what I mean? They're the good ones. You hang on to them. But what some people do, which is the second point of why I wanted to do this video, is they start to manipulate you. People are very creative in ways to get you to start doing what they want you to do again and turn you back into a yes person. So what you might notice is they'll say something like, they'll come over and they'll start complaining. And they'll be complaining and complaining and complaining about how hard things are for them and they're not managing. And how are they going to do this and how are they going to do that? Now, what they're hoping for is that you're going to swoop in and say, oh, don't worry, I'll do that for you. No worries. Ah, Jesus, you poor thing. Yeah, I'll do that. So the first point I wanted to make was that if somebody is going through a hard time, that's their life. It is not your responsibility to help them out. If you have time and you have energy and you're in a position where you want to help them out, great. You're in a position where you can, brilliant. But if it's a thing that you are also struggling, your needs are not being met, the list of things that you need to do is not being completed, and somebody is coming and complaining and complaining and complaining because they want you to swoop in and say no, do not offer. Do not say, yes, I will do that, or swoop in and offer to do something for them. Don't do it. Because later on, when they leave, you get to sit down and go, oh, thank God. Now I'm not going to be spending all next Friday or all this evening or whenever doing something that I really don't want to be doing and spending my energy on something that I really don't want to be doing. Another thing you might notice they'll do is they'll say do you fancy coming over for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? Haven't seen you in ages. Come on over and we'll have a chat and we'll have a catch up. And 10 minutes into your cup of tea, they'll say, Jesus, while you're here, you wouldn't just do this or do that or bring me here or help me out with this. And before you know it, your hour of sitting down and what you thought was going to be a nice relaxing hour or so, chilling out with your friend and having a catch up, has suddenly all of a sudden turned back into you spending time and energy helping them out and giving them a dig out on whatever is going on with them. So I wanted to first of all ask you to try and be aware. Try and notice when these subtle manipulations are happening, because they really are so subtle. They're so hard to catch. And sometimes you'll have gone over for that coffee a couple of times or that cup of tea a couple of times before you catch on to what they're actually doing, and you'll go, fuck that, I'm not going over there again. I know what they're after. The other part of it was about the relationships changing. That can be a hard one, because sometimes you do realise that, you know, somebody was more looking for what you could do for them rather than actually just your company, which is a hard one to swallow sometimes. But as far as I'm concerned, if that's all they were after in the first place, then good riddance, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to get across today. That's your message for today. It is not your responsibility, no matter how hard somebody is going and somebody has it, it's not your responsibility to swoop in and save the day, especially if you have shit going on in your own life that's not getting sorted and your own needs are not being fulfilled. You need to focus on those first. And yeah, to try and notice when those manipulations are happening and watch out for the changes in the relationship and see how their behaviour is back to you. If they're happy that you're starting to mind yourself and do well, or if they're starting to pull away and they've started to not ring anymore. All right. So have a great day and I'll see you all tomorrow.